Now, we all knew that The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was going to have a big launch worldwide, but the first official sales data is starting to trickle in as we see the impact of this game on Nintendo Switch. Now, we don't have any actual hard sales numbers right now, and Nintendo hasn't announced anything as of the time that I'm recording this video, but expect Nintendo to announce some big sales numbers very soon as copies start to pile up in the sold category for Nintendo. But we do have some UK sales tracking information, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has absolutely crushed it. Now, before we get into it though, guys, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, as we are going to be having a brand new Nintendo Switch OLED Tears of the Kingdom giveaway. We already gave away one, shout outs to the winner, and we will be giving away another one very soon. So make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and look out on the community page for a way to enter in. Now let's go ahead and jump back into this here, because The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is the biggest Zelda launch ever in the UK. So Nintendo released The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom on Friday, May 12th. Most people were able to go out there and pick it up, and it's already the 8th best selling Legend of Zelda game of all time in the UK. Think about that for a second, guys. There's a lot of Legend of Zelda games released over the past 3 decades or so, and already after just a couple days of tracking, it's already the 8th best of all time in the UK. Now, this is according to the head of game industry, Christopher Dring. Now, the game did set a record for the biggest Legend of Zelda launch in the history of the UK, easily beating out The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Quote, in the UK, and just after 2 days, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is already the 8th biggest selling Zelda game of all time, said Dring. It's already outsold Skyward Sword, The Wind Waker, and A Link Between Worlds, and this is based on boxed sales alone. We're not counting digital sales at all. So think about that just for a second. Those games obviously weren't the biggest selling in Zelda history, but still, I think it's really impressive for them to completely outsell those games. So lifetime to date already in just 2 days. That goes to show you how big The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is. Now, the latest Legend of Zelda game was, quote, comfortably the biggest boxed retail game of the year in the UK, with sales 54% higher than Hogwarts Legacy. Now, Nintendo doesn't share the digital sales, so they can't really compare everything. But for those who don't know, Hogwarts Legacy was a massive launch this year worldwide. A lot of people felt that Hogwarts Legacy was going to be the best-selling game of the year, and it still could be. We still have to wait for the summer and the fall holiday periods. Obviously, sales go up and down and kind of wave all over the place when it comes to big licensed games or when it comes to big games like Zelda. But at the same time, to see that it kind of crushed it in boxed sales, and The Legend of Zelda is only on one platform, whereas Hogwarts Legacy is on multiple platforms, it is still impressive. Now, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom had the second biggest launch ever for Nintendo Switch in the UK. Launch sales were just behind Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Launch sales were also up 173% higher than The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, though the game was a launch title for the Nintendo Switch. So you should have a much bigger launch since it's a launch title with not as many people that have the system compared to 6+ years later where a lot more people have the system. Now, quote, it's not quite the biggest Switch release ever, as it was slightly below what Pokemon Scarlet and Violet managed last year, said Dring. The launch is 173% bigger than the Breath of the Wild, though. So very good. Now, in terms of revenue, Tears of the Kingdom is already the 4th biggest Zelda game of all time, just a bit behind Ocarina of Time at number 3 and Twilight Princess. Now, this is obviously another big thing, because you can talk about sales numbers and you can talk about everything else like that, but how much revenue is it pulling in? Well, the higher price tag, which I'm not 100% sure how it is in the UK, if they got that $70 jump or not, but either way, they were going to make more on this one compared to a lot of the better selling games because the $60 price tag regardless, but it looks like it might be higher or not. You guys can let me know in the comment section when it comes to the UK, but I do think that revenue-wise, even if you don't consider that, this is going to bring in a lot more money when it comes down to it, especially here in the US with that $70 price tag. So what you guys are seeing right here are the biggest Zelda launches in terms of retail sales. And you can see Tears of the Kingdom is right up there, then Breath of the Wild right after that, then Wind Waker actually number 3. So I didn't know that Wind Waker was number 3, Twilight Princess on the Wii, N64, Ocarina of Time. So awesome games, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is going to be a massive game. It's not just going to be the UK. You're going to see sales records dropping everywhere. I was tracking this game beforehand with Amazon on various different places, and also just the eShop, where it's been #1 since it's been available for that pre-download, and it's just absolutely killing it across the world. And if you play the game, you can see why. The game is absolutely phenomenal in so many different types of ways. They've added so many different things to Hyrule. Even when you go back to certain locations, they've added underground, they've added wells, they've added caves, they've added way better shrines, they've added dungeons, they've added new weapons and new enemies. It's just such a well put together package, building on top of something that was already great. And like I stated before in a previous video, it's gonna make Breath of the Wild look like a tech demo, and it absolutely seems like that is the way, whether it's the sales numbers or it's the gameplay at times. So what do you guys think about this? I think it's pretty lit that Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is doing so well, and it's going to be interesting to see exactly where they go from here. But you're going to hear more about Tears of the Kingdom, guys. It is just starting with what they're going to do with this game, and I'm guessing they have some massive DLC plans, probably in order to, for a game like this. But I do want to move on to something else that's not so positive, and I had multiple people rush me with this information. OJ, did you see Tears of the Kingdom is getting review bombed? And I said multiple times, I don't care that Tears of the Kingdom is getting review bombed.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
And the only reason why I'm bringing it up right now at this point is because I want to address it and tell you guys it's stupid. You should not be listening to user reviews. You should not be going to Metacritic and reading somebody's small little paragraph about why the game sucks and all this different type of stuff, right? You've got a bunch of people that you can't even verify if they've played the game. There is no way to verify if they've played the game. There's no way to verify how far they are in the game. There's no way to verify what is even going on. They could have just read somebody else's review, gotten mad and salty, and then went on Metacritic. Now, I looked at the Metacritic review bombing. There's 250 plus negative reviews so far. Right now, there's over 2,300 reviews. Over 1,900 of them are positive, 127 mixed, and 250 or so that are negative, with a bunch of people putting 2s, 3s, 0s, 1, and just complaining and whining about whatever, and you have no idea who these people are. There's not any in-depth write-up, and it's very basically put down, full of typos, errors, and weird people that have nothing better to do. So I'll say this once, I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it. I've never worried about user reviews because you have no idea who these people are. Now, when it comes to reviews, people like to give the professional reviewers a lot of crap. You can say that they don't know what they're talking about, but at least you can verify that they played the game. At least you can verify an actual write-up. At least you can verify certain things with professional reviewers that you can't with random people all over the internet that you have no idea. Most of the professional reviewers, whether it's GameSpot or IGN, it's 100% confirmed that they have played the game and they give their opinion on that. And at least it's someone that you can see, okay, that's Brian Altano, that's this person, that's that person. They have it charted, regulated, so at least you know. There is far more trust, in my opinion, with at least looking at people that I can say, all right, that's the person. I know they've verified, they have the game, they have the video, they have their footage, they have their write-up, they have everything right there. Going on user reviews, that doesn't do anything for you, and I highly suggest, whether it's positive or negative, user reviews aren't something to be looked at seriously. If you really want a user review, you can go on YouTube and watch people's reviews as well. Yeah, maybe they're not a user in terms of the sense where it's like a quick write-up, but at least on YouTube, if there is a YouTuber doing a review or whatever, which if you want another opinion outside of the professional reviews, but there's plenty of, I would say, amateur YouTube reviewers and people out there that at least you can see footage and you can hear their voice and you can kind of go from there instead of just randoms with weird names games on Metacritic. So I've never really worried too much about user scores. I never will worry about user scores, and review bombing always happens. But even then, 250 negative reviews of weird people doing something isn't relevant. It doesn't really matter. But I'm only saying it because I literally had a rush of people telling me, oh my gosh, it's review bombing, this is terrible, it's horrible, and people making videos and just saying, oh my god, review bombing. Who cares? Like, seriously, like, who cares at this point? And I never have. I mean, I guess it's fun to make fun of it and talk about how pathetic it is. And yeah, it is pathetic that people would even waste their time with this, but people are going to do this. This is just how it is when all you have to do in order to review the game is sign in or just create the account. Create an account, sign in, and you can just write whatever you want. There's no verification whatsoever. Having the internet on an honor system, that's just asking for there to be a lot of nonsense and stupidity. So whatever, it's Metacritic, it's user reviews, review bombing. It doesn't take away your excitement or enjoyment of the game. But let's talk a little bit more about some stuff that actually is official that a lot of people didn't want to discuss anymore. I guess because they want another Nintendo Switch, and maybe they feel if they talk about something positive with the sales numbers of the Switch, it somehow doesn't get them, or Nintendo won't release their next system. But we're going to talk about the facts and the truth here. And the facts and the truth are that the Nintendo Switch is probably the most successful system this late into its life of all time. Now, we know that the Nintendo Switch is the third best selling system of all time right now. It's right below the Nintendo DS and the PlayStation 2. And I think that honestly, after Nintendo's earnings calls, people are very hesitant to say, okay, it's kind of slowing down. See, look, I was telling you guys. But what people aren't realizing is the fact that the Nintendo Switch is selling better and doing better than any other system in its history in its 6+ year. You can go back and look at the times, go back and look at the numbers, go back and look at what the systems were doing. And with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom coming out, or at least the lead up before launch, there has been a big sales push in Japan. Now, a lot was stated about the Japanese sales numbers a little bit last year and also earlier this year with the Nintendo Switch. But after the last 7 weeks or 8 weeks or so, the Nintendo Switch has been selling better than every other system again. It seems like people aren't talking about that. But I had a lot of people rushing to me, telling me, look at this video, look at this on Twitter. Oh my gosh, PlayStation 5, it's outselling Switch, it's over. And then all of a sudden go quiet when the Nintendo Switch does better with big games leading up to it, or the fact that people just kind of got what they wanted to get with the PS5, and home consoles, big bulky home consoles, just aren't as popular anymore in Japan, which is what I was trying to say for a while. For the past 2 weeks, we did get some new sales information out of Japan. This is from April 24th, 2023 to May 7th, 2023. So the lead up to Tears of the Kingdom, and the Nintendo Switch sold another 216,525 units. So it averaged over 100,000 units per week for those last 2 weeks. Now, in comparison, not that it matters overall because the PlayStation 5 is doing incredible worldwide, but in comparison, the PlayStation 5 in Japan sold 99,938 units. Now remember, earlier this year when the PlayStation 5 outsold the Switch, I had a number of people link me to videos and link me to places and say, oh, you see, it's over. They need to release something ASAP because of the PlayStation 5. Not because of what Nintendo said or not because of an investor meeting, but because of the PlayStation 5. Now that the Nintendo Switch is doing better than the PlayStation 5 once again, which we all knew that it would, because the software sales, even in the run that the PS5 was selling better, were atrocious. The Switch was still doing considerably better software, so I knew that it was just a matter of time where things kind of turned around a bit, because software sells hardware. Not hardware just selling the software, it's the software that sells the hardware. So I knew the Nintendo Switch would pick up as the year went along, and we're seeing it right now. More than 216,000 units being sold. So I do feel that The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Nintendo Switch OLED absolutely played into those sales, because the week of April 24th, it was just released, I think a couple days after that, late April. So that was high on the Amazon sales chart. So Tears of the Kingdom is absolutely driving the growth there in Japan, driving more people to pick up the system. And then a sneaky system seller that a lot of you guys don't have on your radar is going to be Pikmin 4. Pikmin 3 Deluxe actually did really well in Japan at launch. launch and helped out quite a bit. Now, it's not a big franchise overall, like when it comes to sellers or anything. You're not going to see 15 million units plus or 20 million units plus or it on Nintendo's top 10, but it's absolutely going to be a big seller in Japan and drive things quite a bit. I can see that game doing really well and even doing better here in the US and in Europe compared to previous Pikmin games, considering how popular Pikmin is. Pikmin has just had the unfortunate circumstance that all of the main games in the Pikmin franchise, not counting re-releases or anything like that, have been on Nintendo systems that haven't done quite as well. So Pikmin 1, Pikmin 2 on the GameCube, Pikmin 3 on the Wii U. So it was just very unfortunate, and the Wii never got a brand new Pikmin game. It got a re-release, and of course the re-release of Pikmin 3 Deluxe on the Nintendo Switch is the best-selling Pikmin game of all time because it's a Pikmin game on an actual big popular console with added new content looking beautiful as well. So I can see Pikmin 4 actually doing some big damage in Japan and boosting things and helping sustain that momentum for Nintendo throughout the summer, along with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So it's interesting, guys. Like, Nintendo's working on their next system. Don't worry, it's coming, but it's not going to be based off of when they release the system. If the sales are not as high as what it was in 2019 or 2020, the Nintendo Switch has afforded them the opportunity and time to really take their time with the next system and release something when it's ready, when the software is ready, when the features are ready, and when the price that they need to get to is ready. So just relax, all right? Switch is doing what it's doing right now, and when the system is ready to go, we will hear about it. I'm guessing that the next Nintendo Switch is going to be announced at the end of the year, then launched sometime after March or so, probably April, May, but we'll have to wait and see. Or maybe they announce it at the beginning in 2024 and then it launches later that year. So we'll see, guys. It's coming though. So what do you guys think about everything that we talked about here? Please let me know in the comment section, and check out our previous videos on The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Nintendo Switch sales, other RPGs. We got everything right here for you guys right on screen. Also hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we'll see you for the next video. Peace.